This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth. Canada's largest cryptocurrency exchange website, QuadrigaCX, is in some serious hot water right now. In fact, they've just been granted creditor protection, giving them 30 days to figure out how to find the missing funds. We're talking upwards of around $190 million is currently inaccessible. Now, why is it inaccessible? Well, their CEO just so happens to have died, and he was the sole owner of the private keys, the passwords in order to access this crypto. So this is affecting a lot of people, and it's kind of rocking the crypto world. So joining us on the line today to help us understand all this is David Modell of Portfolio Wealth, global.com. David, thanks for joining us here to help us understand the implications of when something like this happens. Now, what can you tell us about this story? This began back in December of last year when the CEO of Quadriga died. Take it from there. What have you heard in regards to this, what appears to maybe even be a scandal?
Yeah, well, not maybe. It is a scandal and a scam. This is just an object lesson and something that I've been trying to tell people at Portfolio Wealth Global and now at pureblockchainwealth.com, where I am the crypto guy over there. So I tell people over and over, store your capital and especially your digital assets in you don't want to just keep it in an exchange, for one thing. And I'm sure, Dan, you've been telling people that too as well. We're both on the same team here and on the same page. Mm-hmm. If you've been doing that, I mean, how many warnings do you need? Do we need to look at Mt. Gox? Do we need to revisit that? Well, we are revisiting that. Yeah, it was Jerry Cotton, and now we've got Jerry Cotton's wife, Jennifer, ex-wife now, of course, widow now, Jennifer Robertson. I'm going to read it right off the page. Reportedly stated in an affidavit, "I do not know the password or recovery key. Despite repeated and diligent searches," this is his wife, saying, "I have not been able to find them written down anywhere." Robertson purportedly went so far as to hire a cybersecurity expert to, quote, hack into Jerry's computers to no avail. This is what we're dealing with. If you're keeping your money in an exchange, picture this in your mind. The wife scrambling around looking for where it's written down millions of dollars of assets. Okay. How would you like to have your money be stored in a place where the wife is scrambling to look for where it's written down? What do you think she even knew about cryptocurrency before any of this happened? How involved was she? I don't know, but I'm guessing not too involved. She probably has no idea even what any of this means, what the implications are, but she's going to find out real soon. Of course, there's going to be legal action, but more than that, there needs to be a lesson learned, okay? Think external hardware, hard wallet. Think private keys. Think safe. To go back to Warren Buffett, rule number one is not how much money can I make. Rule number one is don't lose money. Rule number two, see rule number one. Now, I know Buffett is not a big fan of cryptocurrencies like I am, and Dan, like I know you have been, and I'm sure still are in the long term, but this still applies. The rule number one is protect your assets. Okay, mm-hmm. I wasn't going to go there. Protect your assets. That's rule number one. If this isn't a lesson for people, I don't know what is.
Well, it really comes down to individual responsibility, as
Yes.
you said, to protect your assets. You know, when people get into this, it's because they want to move away from the banking system, the cartel, the government corruption, the third-party interference, but when you do that, that makes you responsible for being able to protect your own funds. And like you said, one of the best ways to do that is with a secured wallet, a cold storage, as we call it, some sort of encrypted wallet where it's not being held on an exchange. Because who knows, when you have it, as you said, in the hands of this guy, passwords written down on pieces of paper and his wife looking for it, it raises some serious issues. And now more questions are coming up. I'm not sure if you heard about this. I'll quickly jump to it from Zero Hedge, the crypto exchange CEO who took the keys to 150 million, filed a will just before dying. It says here he filed a last will and testament just 12 days before his unexpected demise. which seems to undercut the exchange's argument that he died suddenly and as a result neglected to share the keys to the exchange's cold storage wallets with his business partners or his wife, who will inherit his estate. So it looks like the guy filed for a will, put all of his information 12 days before this. Does that sound like there might be some more shady doings going on? Not to mention the fact that the CIBC, the bank, actually back last year in October, put a hold of, I believe it was $22 million on QuadrigaCX. So there's some shady things that have been going on in the lead up to his death.
Yeah, it's suspicious. I mean, we'll find out more information, hopefully. Not that the mainstream media is going to tell us everything that's going on. That's why, Dan, you are a main source of information for people, as I try to be over at Portfolio Wealth Global and Pure Blockchain Wealth. This guy, Jerry Cotton, was walking around with $145 million, talking about US here, in funds. He was a walking target. He was a target for kidnapping, extortion, whatever it is. I do think, and of course, he could have just taken that money for himself and then made himself a target. I know that sounds like a suspense movie of some sort, but it is kind of funny, in quotes. It is suspicious that he left that, in his will and suddenly turns up dead. We don't even know all the circumstances surrounding his death. They're not releasing a lot of details. We know that it's sudden. So the whole thing is shady. Now, they did keep it in cold storage wallets with private hidden keys, supposedly. That's part of the problem. That's why the wife or whoever it is looking for that. But if that private information, which I don't love putting that kind of private information into the hands of other people in the first place. And if it's in the hands of only one person and he's out of the picture, now your capital's gone. I mean, come on. So again, you got to protect yourself. We don't know what shady dealings are going to go on. They're not going to tell us everything. We have to get in there and find out for ourselves. And like you alluded to, you have to protect yourselves.
This sounds familiar to me, actually. I'm just reminded of the time that there was a false report about Vitalik Buterin being dead, and obviously it turned out that that was not true. But upon the news of hearing that he may have died, Ethereum took a pretty big dip. It felt the crunch. That just goes to show you how much weight is being put into one man. And doesn't that speak about the importance of true decentralization? I mean, that's really where we got to be is fully decentralized, so nothing's in the hands of anyone. So moving forward, I mean, what do you think this is going to mean for Bitcoin? I mean, people are already kind of disillusioned with Bitcoin moving into 2019. We thought we'd be in a bull run right now. But we're not. So is this going to affect it, or what are your projections for Bitcoin this year?
Right now, it's struggling at $3,400 in US dollar terms, talking about Bitcoin here. Not everybody expected a bull run, at least not right now. It is range bound again. It is struggling. It's finding its footing. But you've got the Bakkt launch, which was delayed, but it's going to happen. That's going to be huge. Bitcoin futures. You're going to get institutional investors involved. You and me, I mean, I don't know how much money you have, Dan. I don't know if you're multi-billionaire. I'm not. Okay, we're the small fish in the pond. We need the whales coming in. The Bakkt launch is going to bring in institutional investors, billionaires, the whales as they call them. And once that money comes in, that should buoy or lift the price of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the mothership. When Bitcoin goes up, you know how a rising tide lifts all boats? Well, Bitcoin is that rising tide. It is the mothership. You've also got I'm sure most of your audience is probably aware of this already, the Bitcoin halving, halving, that's going to happen in May of 2020. Bitcoin miners, probably not good news for them. They're going to get a pay cut, okay? Kind of like a lot of people got a pay cut during the government shutdown. Well, they're going to get their own pay cut. The rewards for mining Bitcoin it's going to get cut in half around May of 2020. It happens about once every 4 years. What effect is that going to have? Well, that's going to de-incentivize the mining of Bitcoin. Again, not great for miners, but great for the scarcity and therefore the price action of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple and the rest of those, because they tend to follow Bitcoin. So, and I know that's not until May of 2020, but the time to start accumulating would probably be right now, because once the buildup starts to happen to that in 2020, it's probably going to be too late because markets are forward looking. They tend to price things in before they happen. So why not start to get in now that Bitcoin is relatively cheap? Look, if people want more information about that, they can go to Pure Blockchain Wealth, pureblockchainwealth.com/danger, DANGER. So people can avoid those big traps like we saw with people walking off with their keys and turning up dead and all that stuff. Okay. Also /top, TOP, pureblockchainwealth.com/top, a complete crypto wealth library. It's a must for crypto long-term holders like me. Lots of special reports there. The point is, you don't want to get in right before the halving. You want to get in a year or more earlier, prior to that, because you want to start accumulating and buy low, sell high. That's what I'm all about. Bitcoin is fairly cheap right now. Why not at least start a position?
All right. Well, speaking of these potential whales coming into the space and bringing mass adoption to Bitcoin, have you heard lately Jack Dorsey of Twitter is talking a heck of a lot about Bitcoin? And if someone of his kind of pull, his sort of influence is getting behind it, what's that going to say for Bitcoin's future? Because lately, I mean, he's tweeting about it all the time. I believe they've just run some sort of experiment with the Lightning Network running on Twitter or something to that effect. But right now, Jack Dorsey's all about Twitter. What do you think of that? Have you heard of that? And what is that going to mean for Bitcoin?
Okay, he's a celebrity. That's fine. We can get celebrities in. I'm not sure how much he knows or really cares about blockchain and about getting rid of fiat currency, which is what I hope this all leads to, and I believe this is all leading to. You've got, first of all, we need to remember how we're pricing Bitcoin. We tend to price Bitcoin against the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar had just a dead cat bounce, just a pretty good year in 2018. It was actually the best performing global asset, which doesn't happen very often. So you had a rare moment of bullish price action for the US dollar. And so that didn't help. Along with the denial of the Bitcoin ETF, which is going to happen, I'm guessing, in 2019. I'm almost sure of it. The SEC doesn't have any more reason to deny it. Okay, they've run out of excuses. All right. Obviously, they don't want it. They don't want any competition for the dollar, for King Dollar. I'm putting that in quotes, of course. So they don't. They have no more excuses to deny the ETF. Again, you've got the BOCT launch coming up. You've got the Bitcoin halving coming up. We've shaken out all the weak hands. Jack Dorsey likes it. Great, wonderful. If we want to get celebrities on board, if we want to get the Twitter guy on board, that's cool, but that's not the ultimate driver of price. We need to get institutional investors in, and we need to get retail believing in the blockchain like I do, and Dan, like I know that you and your audience do. That will happen. It's just a matter of time. Buy low, sell high, start accumulating. Why not take a starter position if you haven't already? I'm not telling people to put in 100% of their portfolio into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But if you want to have a hedge against a market crash, if you want to have a hedge against the death of the dollar is already starting to fade off of those 2018 levels. I knew it would. All fiat currency tends to go toward its real value, which is zero. I didn't make that up. That's from Rob Kirby. But if you have a lot of cash, and you think that that's a safe investment, think again. Bitcoin will only have 21 million ever made. That's it. Meanwhile, the central bank is going to, all central banks will keep on printing their fiat. It's going to go to zero, no matter what fiat you're talking about. I believe that you should mix it up in your portfolio. If you've ever thought about getting a starter position, this is a great time.
Yeah, I agree. I think now is the time. As they say, when blood in the streets is when you should be wrecking it all in, right? So,
yep, absolutely.
Now, any final thoughts on this on this scandal? I mean, and the importance of just protecting your own wealth, the individual responsibility for your own freedom, and putting banking into the control of the individual. Because we need to counter the FUD that is probably going to come of this. And
Yeah.
yeah, what would you say, maybe just in final thoughts, about some advice for people who are maybe on the fence about getting into this space, especially with news of what happened with QuadrigaCX?
Well, okay, Mount Gox happened in 2013, 2014. All the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt was out there in the corporate media who didn't at that time really understand blockchain and cryptocurrency. They still don't understand it. That's why I'm not going to get into something because Jack Dorsey's telling me to. No offense to him, but he's starting to believe in it now. Really, 2019. You see, at Pure Blockchain Wealth, we put out an alert for Ethereum when it was $10. So we've been in this for a long time. Yeah, I do believe that people can start getting into it now. Don't worry about the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Don't worry about this scandal. It survived. Cryptocurrency survived Mount Gox. We've had literally 12 different 30% or more crashes in the price of Bitcoin. This is just and some of them were upwards of 80%, including this one. So we've been down this road before. We have survived. We came back every single time. It's just that this one is more widely publicized, this crash. So if you get in, if you accumulate, you know what I do? When it goes down, I buy some more. That's called scaling in or averaging down. It's okay to do that. Hopefully you didn't go all in when Bitcoin was $20,000. Even if you did, if you believe in the blockchain like I do, if you believe that getting into it has a future, and many people do, you're in great company. Right now, a lot of jobs are going toward the cryptocurrency space, the blockchain space, the mining space. At pureblockchainwealth.com/jobs, we actually talk about all the amazing career opportunities in this space. It's a great time to get in. You don't have to get into necessarily a career into it unless you're really into that, because there is a future for it. Whatever you do, don't just get into stock market indexes. Don't just get into cash and just sitting on it. That's not safe anymore. The bond market is toxic. Cryptocurrencies are a great diversifier. Look, don't worry about day-to-day, month-to-month price action. Worry about the technology underlying it. It is blockchain. It is the future, and it's at a great price right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the same. It's the equivalent to what the internet did to the printing press. We now have the same thing going on with currency and with money. The systems of old have been shattered, and the power is now in our hands. So once again, Dave, thanks you so much for helping us break this down, understand the latest. Check out the links. pureblockchainwealth.com is the links. They'll be located in the description below. Once again, thanks so much for helping us understand this today.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.